But the turning point, or what could have been the turning point for Wolves in that second half, was when Casemiro went in and had what looked like almost a slight touch on Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto milked it absolutely, went down. Penalty was given. Was it a penalty to you guys? I have to ask you, Danny.
Absolutely not for me. Listen, when I see the referee at full, when it happens at the time, I could see at the time why he did blow his whistle and give it. But then, listen, we've got VAR, and all we do is talk about VAR every week. But you've got the option there to, for the person or the referee who's doing the VAR to tell the referee, go and look at the camera, just have a look, and he doesn't. He barely touches him. Listen, like you said, Neto completely milked it, and fortunately for United, coming to the end of the game, it's not mattered. But we have to look at these situations, and it's just not a penalty in anything. He should have got a yellow card.
Phil, I mean, Pedro Neto is no stranger to try to get the most out of an incident like that, as most forward players would. But it was the softest of touch, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's barely grazed his sock, Michelle. I think it's a really poor decision from the referees. As Danny said there, he's got help from the officials in the VAR studio. They've gone with the referee on the decision, but I think the referee also needs to have a little look at that on the monitor and have a look for himself, because there's barely any contact there. It's a really poor decision, and big key moments like that in games can change games. And we saw there it gave Wolves some momentum in the game, a huge boost of confidence, and it put United on the back foot.
So my question is, both of you agree that it was too soft a penalty, shouldn't have been a penalty. And I can tell you a lot of people here in the studio, in the control room, also had the same agreement. Looking on social media very quickly, it did look like 99% of majority of those who were watching that game agreed it wasn't a penalty. So the question is, why was it given when just 24 hours ago a similar incident happened at Anfield, and yet it was a completely different decision, Danny?
From what I'm led to believe, once the referee's made a decision, the VAR, it has to be a clear and obvious error. So, I think when you look at last night, I think Van Dijk, I think it was his knee, I think caught Conor Gallagher, and it was more contact than Casemiro tonight. I think we're going to see it here. And you see Conor Gallagher just takes a touch, and we'll see it in slow-mo here now from a different angle. And for me, Van Dijk, look, you just see here now. I said there's a better angle coming up in a minute. You see he touches his knee. And for me, the referee in that moment the VAR can tell the referee, look, I think you might need to look at this. And I think that's all we're asking for, is for the VAR to look at the monitors in that time as quickly as they can and ask the referee, like Phil says, go to the TV and have a quick 30-second look and see if you make your decision again. And that's all we're asking, is for consistency in that process.
When it's moments like that... Sorry, Phil, go ahead.
Sorry. No, you'd rather the VAR team, obviously the officials in the studio, shout down to the referee that they're unsure about the decision. They can't make a judgment on it. So it's for the referee then to obviously go to the monitor and make a decision, because obviously when you slow it down, it looks miles worse than what it is. And as you can say, I think the Gallagher one was a penalty, and I think tonight, obviously I don't think it was a penalty at all. I think they were very lucky there, Wolves.
But you said slowing it down made it look a lot worse. But even when it slowed it down, it still looked like Casemiro barely had a touch on Pedro Neto. But when you mentioned there, decisions like this can very much change the face of the game. Is there any way at all? Look, I understand that when humans are involved, there will be errors. Things are subjective. Everyone looks at things differently. But when these things are so important to how a game might end up being, is there a way to establish some form of consistency? We just saw two scenarios. One looked worse than the other, and yet the one that looked significantly worse wasn't given a penalty.
Yeah, look,
I'm a bit. That's the consistency side that you're looking for, and that's where I think the VAR team can come in and help the officials a little bit more than what they're doing. And there's just a grey area that we seem to find ourselves talking about constantly after football matches. Wasn't it a foul or a penalty or a goal, whatever it may be? And it's just frustrating with the decisions that are getting given. Obviously, when they've got clear views of it, but ultimately, I think obviously tonight, for instance, I think the referee's got to have the final call. I really believe that he's got to go over to the monitor and have a look. I think he blew his whistle far too soon for that.
Danny?
Michelle, you said there obviously about listen, we're human and we make mistakes. So, but I just don't understand what's the problem in the officials with the VAR telling the referee just go and have a look at the monitor. It might take 30 seconds, it might take 1 minute. We know now that time's going to be added on at the end of the game. So then, we used to see 3 or 4 minutes. Like tonight was 9, ended up maybe 10, 11. We know that it's going to get added on. So to make the correct decision, why can't you just say, like Phil says, if the VAR team are unsure, just speak to the referee and say, I think you should. You're on the pitch. You're in control. Go and have a look at the monitor. And then, then it's up to him in that moment. He knows what he's seen in the first place. Do you think he was wrong or do you think he was right? And we're going to leave it to you. You're on the pitch. You're in control. It's like who is officiating these games, and that's what's frustrating everybody.
Should there be almost like a standard procedure set out, black and white, in rules? If scenario A happens, it's this. If scenario A.1 is this, or A.2 is this, and actually have a proper, in black and white, what every situation should be dealt with.
Yeah, look, it's difficult because there is grey areas, like you said, but I just don't see what the problem is or the harm is in, going to the monitor. Like I said, it's like I said before, who is officiating these games, and the problem is we're all watching the same footage as the VAR team, and we're all in real time seeing that and saying we don't think it's a penalty. So I'd love to know what the VAR are saying to the referee in his ear that we can't hear. That's, I think, but I don't understand. But yeah, I think, as you said, Michelle, I think something needs to change in the ruling and maybe the process of coming to the outcome of the decision, which ultimately, it's big things at stake in these moments for clubs and for teams.